Welcome to our channel, Flavors with Boo and
Potato.
And today we are here to discuss a hot topic. The hot topic is related to the relationship killer. Wow.
Wow, that's a good topic. So, relationships today, they rarely end because of one big mistake. Normally, relationships end because of bad habits that we create over time. So, you guys just sit back and we're going to share 5 of those type of topics that we believe will destroy your relationship. So make sure you comment and view everything and get back with us in the comments so we can read just to see if we can compare notes. But the first topic that we want to discuss with you guys is
poor communication, guys.
Man, that's like major.
That's major.
Major. Poor, such as?
Do you listen to understand or just to respond?
For years as a man, and I'm only speaking for me as a man, I remember when we were young, I would only hear,
right,
but I wouldn't listen. I could hear you, but I wouldn't listen. So I wouldn't know everything that you were trying to communicate to me. So I think a lot of people in relationships are not actually listening. They're just responding. So by just responding, you're missing a lot of things.
Basically the whole conversation. Because I can say many, okay, ladies, this is about the men. We could talk to men over and over about a certain topic. And if they're not interested, they hear you, but then you go back and ask them about it, they can't elaborate on it. So that's kind of a major problem as well. They can respond, but they can't elaborate on what we actually were talking about. Do you understand?
I get it. I understand now. But I think a lot of men understand and know what you're talking about. And I'm going to give you an example. Like when we're on a couch and we're watching our favorite sporting event. A woman, our lady could be talking to us right next to us. But our ear right here is like hurting because we like, please just
be quiet.
Be quiet. I hear you, but I'm not listening.
Right.
So I understand. I get it. Communication is definitely numero uno.
And it goes both ways.
Right.
You can't communicate to someone and they're not communicating back, regardless how big or how small it is.
Yeah, that's huge. That's huge. And number two, that's taking each other for granted.
Wow.
I think a lot of us do that. We just assume that we're all going to be here forever.
Exactly.
And so we would just overlook the things that that are important to one another.
Especially when people are in long-term relationships. They become very complacent, very comfortable, and they don't feel like it's important to do the things that they used to do, which the reason why you're dating, why you married or you're dating today.
We forget about those things.
You forget about those wine and dine.
Yes.
And, taking out on dates and making you feel so loved.
Yeah.
You get too comfortable and complacent.
That's very important. When I was still working, people used to always say, Sneed, let's go. Can you come to the bar with us? Meet us at the bar. And I'd be like, man, me and my wife, we're going to go out. We got plans already. And they couldn't understand it. But the number one thing I used to always tell them was my wife was my best friend, is my best friend. And they look at me like kind of strange and odd. I'm like, me and my wife, we do just about everything together.
Yes.
That's communicate, share memories, talk about things, look at TV, go places together. Right. So you have to keep that flame alive. If you let it die, flicker out, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
your relationship is in trouble. You want to elaborate a little bit more on that?
And not saying that you can't do anything without your spouse. You can do that. It's not a problem with doing that. But there are boundaries to everything that you do in life, especially when you're in a relationship.
Yes, got to have them boundaries now. Everybody got to have an outlet. You know, I would still do things, but I'd be rushing to get back home like that. Like, I got to go home. Yeah. So your wife or your husband or your significant other one should be your best friend.
Absolutely. I agree.
Case in point.
Discussion topic number 3.
It's a lack of trust and honesty. You know, you have to have some type of integrity within your relationship.
Absolutely.
You know, because if your wife or your husband can't trust you, then you're doomed for failure off the break.
Yeah, you are. Like, for instance, we can go through each other's phone. There's no problem. There's no hidden agenda here, or neither in his phone.
No.
Not that we do that, because everybody have their own privacy. You're supposed to get them that. But if we have to, he has my password, I have his password.
Right.
You shouldn't hide anything, so you can earn that trust from each other.
Yes. You know, or such as new friendships, you know, that you're still working at a job, then all of a sudden you got new friends, new opposite sex friends, and then all of a sudden you're telling your spouse, me and such and such, we're going out to the bar tonight, business meetings and all of that good stuff, and you know, so now you're creating suspicion in the relationship,
right?
You know, and suspicion just brings on unnecessary problems. Even if you're not doing anything, it's creating a suspicion.
Right.
You know, or hiding the finances.
And to elaborate strongly on this topic, so many people now who not having that trust, they're actually killing each other. If you look at the news,
so much
husbands and wives are killing each other, taking each other's life based on the husband cheating or the wife cheating or suspecting someone to be doing something other than what they are doing.
Yeah, we live in some rough times now.
Right.
Yeah.
So honesty and trust is imperative to have in your relationship.
Right. Because, you know, to go back to communication, you have to be able to communicate your feelings to the loved ones, because you might be going through something or they might be going through something, and they need to know that so they don't just start, you know, assuming things, and then you start getting bad feelings and hateful resentment within inside you start building up. So communication and all of these things are important.
They are.
You know, another big topic or issue I believe is actually destroying and killing these relationships is pride.
And refusing to apologize.
Ooh, man, you guys, they know what I mean. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You know, when you and your significant other, that's what we're going to use. We're going to say significant other. Y'all get into a spat or an argument. Disagreement. But neither one of you are big enough to say, I'm sorry.
Right.
And apologize for anything. So the foolish pride builds up inside you. So now you have this one problem that you haven't, you know, got rid of.
Right.
So now you have another argument and another argument, another argument.
And it keeps couples
snowballing,
unable to resolve the conflict.
And then you eventually hit a brick wall.
Right, and it builds up so much where you can snap, or they go out and do something they shouldn't do. You know, so. But the problem with hitting that brick wall, when you don't get rid of or solve the problems that you had behind the major problem, is they all build up, and then you can't, even if you solve the big problem, you still left all the other problems behind that you still have to address, that you have to address eventually. Right.
Because it could have been about cheating, or something that you thought they were cheating. Finances.
Lies.
Because now the mortgage got behind, the money was missing. We didn't even talk about that.
Right.
So you have to be able to discuss a lot of those things and not let pride get in the way of apologizing and being able to solve those problems.
Right. Nobody's bigger than us. Just be the bigger person. Even if you feel like you shouldn't apologize, because that's just holding you back from pride. Just be the bigger person and see how the relationship flow when you could just sit down with your spouse or your significant other and say, hey, let's talk about this. I apologize for this, but acknowledge to them what you don't like that they're doing to you, so you all can work on healing and apologizing.
Also, pride, that's a word that, it'll hit you. Mm-hmm. But when it comes to a relationship, especially a marriage, pride should go out the door.
Absolutely.
It shouldn't even be about pride anymore. It should be about love.
Love.
You have to really put that significant other in the perspective that you love this individual. Mm-hmm. And you don't want to see them hurting. Yeah. So if you don't want to see them hurting, just understand that an apology is what it is. It's from the heart. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, boo, for whatever I did to you. It's maturity. That's it.
A form of maturity, a form of strengthening your relationship.
Right.
You can't just keep holding animosity in your heart because somebody did something. And it depends on what it is, but still, forgiveness is so important.
It's big time. You have to be big enough to be able to forgive your loved ones. Because if not, why should they forgive you for anything you do? So, our last topic is losing the friendship in your relationship. I talked about that earlier, that my boo is my best friend. So you have to be friends with your partner. You have to. Because your boys and your girls out there, they ain't gonna always be there for you when you need them.
Oh no.
You're gonna be going through something, you're gonna pick up the phone and say, hey, such. Hey, I need you. And they're gonna be like, hey, I'm busy today. I got something to do. Their loyalty is not to you. Mm-hmm. So keep the friendship alive, because remember, that's what brought y'all together in the first place. Being friends, y'all did everything together. Y'all used to stay on that phone. You remember how we used to stay on the phone?
Oh my God, I still do it to this day.
Still on the phone, boo, what you doing? All right, and she wasn't doing nothing. Okay, and then next, we sleep on the phone. So you have to be good friends with your significant other.
And then also, do not revolve your conversation around bills, problems.
That's terrible.
As a form of communicating.
That's terrible.
I mean, nobody want to just hear about the conversation about bills. In fact, you do it, but all that responsibility, you got that in order. But just don't make it a priority conversation all the time.
Or just talking about your children or your grandchildren all day long. Because they got their lives. They're coming up and they're going to develop their lives. Remember, you have a significant other that is an individual outside of kids and bills. So you have to understand that they want your attention also. You don't have to give them every single minute of your time, but you have to understand they have needs also.
Right. And always make your loved one feel special. Tell them, hey, I tell my boo all the time, you handsome, you look good, You have to always put your significant other on the pedestal as far as making them feel good about themselves, making us feel good about each other.
Complimenting each other.
Complimenting, loving on each other, respecting each other.
Sharing memories and sharing things together. Taken interest in the things that they do. Not just what you want to do. But, not only that. For instance, when one party wants to do something, but the other party say, I don't feel like it. I understand you don't feel like doing things all the time, but you got to understand your significant other or your wife, your husband, or whatever, they want to do some things. So you have to just find the strength and energy to do what they want to do sometimes. You don't have to do things all the time. It's boundaries.
It is.
But you have to think about their feelings, and you're not their daddy or you're their mommy, and you're telling some grown woman or man, we're not going to do this. That don't make no sense. I'd be livid if I was in that type of relationship.
Right. Or they can say it in a different way. Not today, maybe next week.
Maybe next week.
There's different ways that you can communicate with someone to make them still feel good about the relationship. Because and a lot of people, they tend to get bored with each other when they're with each other so long because they lose the spark.
But what I say about that part is, I understand people getting bored as years go on, but you have to transform yourself with the relationship during times.
Exactly.
Nobody stays the same.
No,
so
we all changing every day.
Right. So you can't expect your wife or your husband to be the same person that they were when they were teenagers.
Exactly.
Now when your wife was, and I'm speaking from a man's perspective. When your wife was a teenager and y'all started having relationships and you was able to take her to Olive Gardens for your first date or whatever have you, you can't take them to Olive Garden all the time no more. You have to take them to 5-star restaurants sometimes.
And I grew up a lot from that because I was mad about Olive Garden. I think about it now, I'm like, oh my God.
But that was a come up from McDonald's though.
I wasn't going to McDonald's though.
But they understand what I'm saying. Y'all understand what I'm saying though. But people got to be able to change as time go on. Nobody stays the same.
No.
Nobody.
No, we're getting older. We're losing some of our looks, gaining weight. All types of things that we're doing, and
I'm still the
same. As long as you love a person, nothing should change. It should just make it even stronger. Embrace each other. Communication is so important. Without it, the marriage or significant other relationship can be destroyed.
Okay, I think we hit on some great topics this evening with you guys. So my question to anybody out there that's in a committed relationship, a marriage, whatever have you, would you redo it, remarry, or recommit yourself with your significant other today? If you had a restart, would you do it again? I would.
Yeah, I would.
I definitely would. So if you would do the same, make sure you comment and like, subscribe, and share for Flavors with
Boo
and Potato. Peace.